weekend?
20%, but hasn't that been discredited? Because isn't it because people tend to only go into hospital at the weekend if they're very ill, otherwise they wait until Monday, rather than doctors sort of taking it easy on a Saturday and thinking, oh, sod it.
But you're more likely to die in hospital at the weekend, even if you went in not on the weekend. In fact, you're marginally less likely to die if you go in on the weekend, because, I don't know, you just are. Because it takes a few days to die in hospital, normally.
But it takes longer to die in hospital, what, presumably, because there's doctors and things like that trying to stop you
I don't know.
dying. It's a false economy, isn't it, doctors? They work very, very hard to keep people alive, but they're just creating more work for themselves, aren't they? Anyone know what happened in Sandwell Hospital in West Bromwich?
They called the doctors back to work, but the email had been written the day before. The email saying, it's really busy, come back, we need you. And they went, no, you wrote that yesterday. That's cheating, surely.
They called it was a level 4 incident, they said, which is a very serious level 4 incident. Level 1 is slipping on a banana skin. Level 5 would be Ebola, or a consultant's Audi being blocked in. Right, well, erogenously, this is the junior doctors' strike that disrupted NHS services this week, leading to the cancellation of operations and appointments while leaving the transmission of the BBC television series Doctors tragically uninterrupted. The junior doctors were joined on strike by many people who supported their cause, as well as several rather irritating people who just wanted them to have a quick look at this mole they've got. One doctor on the picket line at St George's Hospital, Tooting, paid her own inspiring tribute to Health Secretary Jeremy Hunt by holding aloft a large handcrafted turd called Jeremy. When I say handcrafted, I mean it was made out of fabric, not... well, you can imagine. 2 points to Hugo. Lucy, who wants to sink estates?
This is the government's housing bill, which I think, so bits of it have gone through. There was, the bit that caught my eye was there was an amendment to the housing bill, which was proposed by a Labour MP, which was basically to ensure that homes should be fit for human habitation, which got defeated 312 to 219. And the local government minister, Marcus Jones, said the government believed that homes should be fit for human habitation, but did not want to pass the new law that would explicitly require it. That makes you sound a bit evil. Of course, about a third of the House of Commons are landlords, so obviously they're coming at it from that perspective. I mean, I think, people say that this government is against the state ownership of housing, but actually it is getting to a point where only MPs will be able to afford to buy houses, thus returning it to parliamentary control. And it would be, for an MP, it's quite a good idea to say to your constituents, I own your houses, how do you feel about voting for me now?
OK, I'm now going to defend both the political class and the government, because I know that always goes down really well. So, firstly, the reason why lots of MPs own houses, own flats that they rent out, is because since the expenses scandal, they are allowed to claim for rent, but not for mortgage repayments. Okay. So all the ones who owned flats rented out their flats and now rent new flats at much more expense. It's mental. But that's why... So, yeah,
this is you defending them?
Sort of. So like 27% of MPs are landlords, but that's
27% of Conservative MPs are landlords.
Oh, really?
Yeah. A lot of them are housing SNP members. Yeah.
But the other thing, it's not quite as simple as there was going to be a law to make homes fit for human habitation, and now they're not. Because at the moment, there is still an obligation to make homes fit for human habitation, but it's not by law, it's through councils. So if your home isn't, the council has to enforce it. And this law would have made it a law, so it wasn't the council's problem. So it was a civil or criminal problem.
Yeah, I can understand not wanting to introduce unnecessary legislation, but saying councils have to sort it out.
But it's not
it's like you never think, oh, good, it's in the hands of the council. That'll work out well.
It's not like in the absence of this law, you'll rent a flat and you'll go in and you'll be like, I'm sorry, it's full of wolves. And the landlord will be, it's not quite that bad.
I lived in lots of flats in Cardiff in my 20s that weren't fit for human habitation, but in some of those flats I was 100% responsible. I'm ready to hold my hands up.
I looked around a house in Peckham with my wife, and this estate agent was showing us around. There was a pair of old pants on the floor in the sitting room. I said, is that a pair of pants, to the estate agent? And he went, yeah, they've been there ages. Does anyone know how many of Jeremy Corbyn's questions at PMQs are about housing?
All of them?
Exactly, all of them, all 6. None of which, oddly enough, were, when can I stop doing this and just go home?